And now it's time for Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's talk hookup. For the next 2 hours, join Pete Gray, rock cod Rick Maxa, Corey Sanden, and this week's special expert guest for fishing information, new techniques to catch more fish, and the most current scoop on what's happening in the water. Let's Talk Hookup is sponsored in part by Royal Polaris, the world's finest long-range sports fisher. By Ford, the official truck of Let's Talk Hookup, and Shimano Rods and Reels. Fish with the best. Shimano. Get ready for the fastest 2 hours on radio with the hosts of Let's Talk Hookup, Pete Gray, rock cod Rick Maxa, and Corey Sanden.
Good morning, anglers, and welcome to Let's Talk Hookup. Man, do we have a fun show for you today. It's just Corey and I. We're hanging out in the studio talking with you. Today's a freelance show, and we're just going to be having a lot of fun doing it. We're going to be looking forward to talking to Pete later on in the show. He's continuing his Montana adventure. He's going to call in and give us a report, but today is one of those fun shows where it's just all about you. We're wanting to talk story. We're wanting to talk tackle. We're wanting to talk tactics and more. You stay tuned. It's going to be a fun one, and it's all about your phone calls and texts. You stay tuned. You're listening to Let's Talk Hookup, Southern California's sport fishing voice on the Mightier 1090 ESPN Radio and that Let's Talk Hookup app. Everyone has their go-to fishing spot. My spot is Kingfisher Charters in Sitka, Alaska. Rock Cod Rick here to say if you're looking for the ultimate Alaska experience and the best value in Alaska, it's Kingfisher Charters. Owner Seth Bone and his crew consistently deliver deluxe accommodations, the finest food, world-class fish processing, and top-of-the-line fishing experience. We've literally sent hundreds of our listeners to Kingfisher, and they all can't wait to go back. Most Alaska resorts make big promises, and they don't deliver, or they'll nickel and dime you to drive up the cost, but not Kingfisher. Everything is included. Your license, fish processing, super deluxe accommodations, amazing food, airport transfers, your gear. Literally all you need to bring is your layer clothing, and Kingfisher covers the rest. They also have the finest boats and charter captains in Sitka, all for the ultimate value. Take it from me. Book your trip to Kingfisher Charters and you'll thank me. Kingfisher Charters. 800-727-6136 or check kingfishercharters.com.
For quality, the Islander out of Fisherman's Landing is a favorite among anglers. But Islander Charters is much more than great fishing. The quality of the captains and crew, as well as the great meals and service, speak for themselves. Comfortable staterooms, a super clean and well taken care of boat are just a few of the reasons the Islander is so popular. The Islander specializes in 1.5 to 5 day fishing. Experience the Islander difference. Visit IslanderSportFishing.com.
It's time for the Power Pro 30-second seminar. I like catching big fish, and I like smaller reels, too. How do I make sure that I have the capacity to land the big one? I fill my reels with Power Pro Max Quattro. It's 25% thinner than standard Power Pro, so you get more line on that small reel. Power Pro has a complete series of highly effective lines, including the brand new Power Pro Depth Hunter Offshore, with different colors every 100 feet. Perfect for flatfall fishing. Want to learn more? Check PowerPro.com.
All right, welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. And Rick, always those fun shows to be a part of, and just letting listeners steer it,
fly,
right?
Man. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, totally.
I know.
Today's going to be a very fun one for sure.
It is. I mean, it's hard to believe. Rick, it's June 1st.
June. I said the same
That's
thing.
Crazy.
I was looking at the calendar this morning with, man, that one went by really fast.
Yeah, and as fitting, cloud cover creating the June gloom, right? But it's a part of the fabric of for me, the inshore fishing. I love it.
Yeah. And, the other thing that June, that when you look out the world headquarters that you can confirm that is June, is there is not a single boat tied to the dock at Fisherman's Landing other than guys that have returned this morning or the Royal Polaris, which finished boat work today and they leave tomorrow. I mean, it's that true summertime is here. It's happening. I mean, you look outside on the dock and literally the dock is empty at Fisherman's Landing.
The parking lot's full.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nice to see for sure. And the bluefin bit too, right?
Did. Yeah, this has been we all know exactly what it's been. It's been it's been like a tumultuous start to the season, like a lot of feast or famine. It was so good for that few weeks in March, and then it fell off. And then April had a spike or two, but it was kind of down. And then May had some highlights, but also some wind and funkiness and missing fish. But you know what? That's all yesterday. That's all the day before, and it is biting right now.
I know, it's nice to see. Even some of the overnight trips.
Yeah.
Like, which is kind of, I don't, you see a lot fewer.
You're right.
Overnight than you do day and a half now, you know?
The thing that's really cool about what's happening right now is like there being several areas of fish, and our fleet was fishing out to the west, and there was some really good sign and several days of really good catching on big ones, and most of that fish was all big. It was all 100 to over 200 pounds, and then usually when our fleet is doing the best, it's in setups like it is now, where there's several options. In addition to the fish out to the west, there's fish down to the south, and that fish was also big, not like crazy big, more like catchable big, 40 to 90 pounds, 40 to 100 pounds.
That's exactly what I saw him unloading this morning.
That's cool.
Yeah, like beautiful, catchable grade.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, what do you even call that these days? I mean, it's big. Of course it's big.
Yeah.
50, 60, 70 pounders. Of course those are big ones. But, in this crazy world of 200 pounders on full day trips, it's just a really, really nice grade of fish, and a lot more willing to participate. And the other thing that's nice about that fish down to the south is we're starting to see the classic regular summertime, daytime biting fish. The nighttime still, the spot, the jigs, all the nighttime craziness, but there was a lot of good daytime sinker rig fishing, and it's not just a nighttime game either.
Yeah, I love hearing that one for sure. I got better things to do with mine.
The other thing that was really cool to see, at least in terms of the sport boat fleet, is what your favorite is, and there's that really good inshore bass fishing.
I know that Calicos stuff. I love it. It's my passion, my life, as everybody knows. And man, the only thing that I'm missing is the kelp. Man, I don't know what the heck. It's like it's kind of there. It's there, but it's not like past years. And the more I try to figure it out, the less I realize I know.
I know exactly
Seriously.
what you're saying, because in theory we went through a kind of ideal condition for kelp production this year, right? I mean, it was on the cooler, colder side most of the year, and a lot of upwelling and a lot of cold water on the beach, and that's what we were all, I don't want to call it complaining about in the winter and early spring, was how cool the water was, and you would assume that would mean for mega kelp production, and it's a little bit lackluster.
But what it does for the sport boat, Rick, and for the private boater too, but they're able to pull up, because those bass are right in the same area as they would be holding in the kelp, but they're holding on kelp that might be halfway up or just 20 feet from the surface maybe, and that kelp's growing on rock, and so that rock is what holds them too, and so the sport boat is able to do its anchor job, anchor up, and pull the fish, and the passengers, they can actually sit more on the rock and have more accessibility to the fish.
Totally.
Yeah. So
and it's not like the kelp is gone, but with gone. At least in terms of San Diego, where we're talking where the bed wasn't as it's not as big or as deep or as thick or it was before.
I like lush, man.
I like
Bring
it.
Yeah. Like, hey, when I'm throwing my frog at the lake, I want some mat, man.
Green.
I want some structure. You know what I mean? And the same thing with calico fishing, Rick. There's nothing that excites me more than picking apart an area of kelp and throwing
reading current, figuring out what it's doing,
reading the lanes, and just sneaking up on them and pulling the sneak attack and getting the bite. And when you connect it all, and I don't care if it's 14 inches or, well, I do care if it's 14 pounds, right? But to catch 14-inch fish, dude, I'll do it all day long, sight fishing like that.
Seeing the condition come together and knowing in your mind, okay, this is the cast. It's down and in, and it's laid to the beach, and there's a nice lane, and there's some bait swirling around in there, and it's the right color and it's the right direction. I know I'm going to get one in this cast, and then making that cast and getting the bite, that's it.
I know, and some of the things I've seen in the count too, Rick, are a little bit of barracuda sprinkled in, and that it's kind of like the bonito thing. A lot of guys, kind of snub their nose at it, but I love hearing about the barracuda, because it is like one of those things that is a direct connection to the kelp and calico and everything else that goes with it.
Yeah.
It's just it's a part of the inshore that people don't always connect with what's going on in the kelp. And when you get that even small barracuda around, and it just pushes the bait in, it creates... It's a part of the puzzle.
Yeah,
that
sign of healthy condition.
It is. Yeah, I love it, man. It's usually a sign of chovy around, and it's something I pay attention to for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I know that was a big part too of the really good calico bass fishing that we saw both up in La Jolla and for the new Seaforth guys, and then down in San Diego for the half day guys there was that great shove. And boy, it's amazing what sprinkling some of that behind the boat can really do for your calico bass fishing,
right?
Or sand bass fishing, or whatever else.
Any part of the inshore.
Yeah,
really.
It's a pretty magic thing. That you talk about an important piece of the puzzle. You sprinkle some of that around, and boy, things come running.
Yeah, and summertime chovy. I mean, we're kind of stepping into summer, and with that summertime chovy, I wonder. My first question is, I wonder where they're catching it.
Right.
Is it like offshore 5 to 6 inch, or is it off the beach and maybe 3 or 4 inch mixed with 5 inch?
Obviously, we've talked about all your times on the bait boat and working for Everingham for all the years. Would you see is that a pretty common trait? The size of the bait in terms of anchovy, offshore is bigger, inshore is smaller. Or is that a rule that's always followed? Is it very situational? How does that go?
Well, typically when the water starts warming up like it is now, I mean it's no surprise or no. The water temp's been coming up very slow, right? So you hit that 60 degree, 61, 62, and you start to get mackerel and bonito and that small barracuda involved, and it pushes in the chovy. Like the chovy's not happy in 200 feet of water anymore.
Oh, okay.
You get it? It might be happy, but it's sinking out during the day. Yeah. And it's not floating during the day, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it sinks out with that deep scattered layer. It comes up with that DSL, as you know, if you're sword fishing or tuna fishing, the DSL deep scattered layer is made up of microorganism, krill included, and the chovy actually eats all that stuff. So it'll come up with it and go down with it and actually sink out further. And when you get the beach chovy, man, it's mixed with brown bait, queenfish, and oh man, you talk about good times. But yeah, when I started with the bait company, I've mentioned quite a few times, some of the trials and tribulations of bait fishing. I
love that kind of stuff.
When I started, we were pulling net by hand, and the only way that we could catch that chovy in 10 to 20 feet of water was with a Lampara net, and we'd pull the net by hand, and man, we caught all kinds of just. In addition to the chovy was that queenfish and pompano and all this. Yeah, pompano and tomcod, and the pompano actually, I mean, they look like a true pompano, but the market calls them butterfish. Yeah. I don't know which one is true. Right. Yeah.
I remember as a kid that being the thing. Everybody talked about brown bait and fishing those things and that was if you wanted a big bass, that was what you fished on the half day boat. Was that because it's just a bigger bait offering than a chovy was? Like, could you effectively do the same thing with a greenie or a sardine, or are those baits in particular better bait? Were they better just because they were bigger, or was that something that oh no, they smoked it? That's something that they really wanted to get their hands on.
So back to that era, Rick, there were no sardines.
Yeah. No, right. That's what I'm saying.
And I'm mentioning that because it's going to be a part of the conversation here. There were no sardines. I've had this conversation with Johnny White probably a dozen times over the past 20 years. Okay. There was an era, no sardine. You would catch these chovies that were so small you could barely put them on a hook, like 2 inches. Yeah. And heaven forbid we ever see that again, because there's 3 generations that have no clue, right? And so these chovies were so small, but they were great for chum. Yeah. Dude.
Oh, you can pour it on. I mean, think about that.
The boys love it, right? Because you can anchor up and you get everything lathered up. It can't. Sure. They could eat for 3 hours.
Right. They're not going to get full.
That's it. And not eat enough, right? So what's a hook bait? You know, a 2-aught hook with a 7-inch queenfish would get you that 5-pounder.
Sure.
You understand?
Totally.
So then came the sardine era. And it was an era into the early 90s. That's when it happened. The sardine came back. I mean, the mythical Cannery Row fished them out, were doomed and gloomed, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're extinct. We'll never see them again.
And the older we get, the more we realize the ocean just revolves in cycles, right?
Totally.
Things happen. And you never see it's always a domination. You never see an equal amount of anchovy and an equal amount of sardine. It just does not happen. It's an ebb and flow, and there's always one population that is stronger than the other.
Right.
It's just period. The end of the story. It's the way it works. And so there was a period in the early 90s when the sardine came around, and there were a tremendous amount of 2 to 5 pounders, you know, that were wrangled, and it made the guy that had no clue a hero.
Yeah, everybody can cast a sardine, man. You put that big thing on, it weighs a bunch.
Yeah.
Wind's blowing in your face, who cares? Maybe fire it back there.
Yeah. So I could go on with that forever. But that fish and bait was a passion of my life. It taught me a lot about the ocean.
Sure.
We mentioned Joe Machado, and I hunted with the guy. I fished with the guy.
Yeah.
We did a lot together.
That's cool.
And he was a big part of my life and taught me a lot.
I love the connection of all the time you spent around with fishing bait, and just like what it transfers into your mind and your creative process into making the lures that you make today. I mean, who has stared at bait fish swimming around more than the guys that catch bait all day, every day for a living and keep the fleet going and keep us going? And you know, it's such an important part, and you've just seen it. You have got to see it and be a part of it in all phases.
Rick, I literally could have all the free live bait I wanted.
A lifetime free card.
Well, and I did. And so I had this. I had a little whaler, and I had like a 30-gallon drum made into a bait tank. That thing was so huge for the skiff. I would load up 8 scoops of bait into it. Okay, cured bait. I mean, I sorry for the long rangers back then, right? And so I would load up on this cured bait and take it out and just chum the heck out of and throw surface iron, you know?
Yeah.
And throw artificials into it.
That's my favorite thing in the world.
Man. Talk about good times, Rick. But so having all that access to free bait and you know the price of live bait.
Totally, sure. Yeah, it's a big part of it, but we all know too what goes into it, you know.
So today there's nothing more exciting. I don't care if it's a crappie, a largemouth bass, a surf perch, a halibut in the surf, or a calico bass. To fool them on an artificial is in my heart and in my bloodstream, man. I love it.
And the bite is it's
jarring.
It's the best. It's the best.
Whatever
part.
It is.
Yeah, totally.
It could be a frog in the lake. It could be. I mean, how do you not like throwing a 5-inch weedless, trying to imitate a grunion, and having an 8-pound halibut just smash it?
My most favorite part about our most recent El Salto trip that we went on with Frank was fishing the Viejo, and you know, he talked about it a bunch, and we caught a tremendous amount of fish on a bunch of different lures and all kinds of different things. But the bite on the Viejo was my favorite because it was it was representing something that was bigger than a smaller bait fish. You know, it was representing a tilapia or a big threadfin or whatever it was. It was representing something that they didn't just inhale. It was something that they had to like catch and kill or smash or whatever it was. So, you know, we were slow winding that thing across the bottom, almost like we were sand bass fishing. But the grade of fish that bit that was a step or two higher than what the bites on the other things were.
So
really, it was a 5-pound fish or better was what was eating the Viejos, and we caught a bunch of them. But the bite was like they didn't just like eat the thing, and it wasn't a rattle and it wasn't a tap. It was a smash.
Yeah.
Like they pinned that thing on the bottom. They were needing to kill it so that then they could, you know, as if it were tilapia, so that they could roll it around and get it down the right direction. And the bites were just
jarring,
sickening. Oh my God, it was so rad.
And I think a lot of that, I think you don't realize in our mind we're winding it slow, but when the water heats up, things are barely moving, right? Their metabolism is so hot, and So they see that lure go by, it's faster than what's happening in their little ecosystem, right? So it's a reaction bite, man. Like they want to smash that thing.
And maybe you're good at winding really slow before you start getting them, but you get on a little shoreline that those fish are on and they're biting well, and now all of a sudden you're getting a bite a cast, and you know that your next cast you're about to hook a 5-pounder and your adrenaline's going crazy.
Yeah.
You tell me how slow you're winding that. You know what I mean? Your mind knows, okay, Caden's got to slow down. You look at the handle and it is turning because you know it's coming. Like
you know who turned me on to that whole 5-inch Viejos at El Salto was Jim Bastian.
Oh, really?
And Ryan Bastian.
Okay.
Yeah. When Jim told me, I honestly, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, I believed it, but
sure.
I really could not believe it. And Ryan's boog is like, oh, yeah. Like, dude, we don't only need a grip full of them. We need a bag of them, you know? So, that's where that came from, was Ryan and Jim.
I believe it.
Oh,
and man, it works good down there.
It does. It just gets big.
It does, man. No doubt about it. Well, as you can hear, today is going to be much like this. You know what I mean? We're just going to have a great time. We're talking fishing. There's so much going on. There's so many trips that are about to happen. All the Cedros trips are lining up. We've got to see the first round of trips go by and see the great success there, and this inshore fishing that's happening. The spring is starting to transition into summer. It's just awesome, man. We're going to have a great time and a great show. And again, Corey, as we always say, these shows are just about our Let's Talk Hookup family, and they're about what you want to talk about. And it might be a report from a great trip or a question you have about, outfitting the right baits for your calico bass, or whatever it might be. Today's a day for you, and we're going to have a lot of fun doing it.
It's a great style, a great way to do it, Rick. And you want to be a part of the show and join in a conversation with us, whether it's tuna, calico, whatever you want to talk about. 213-432-1090. That's the telephone number there. 2 open lines right now. It's all yours. Again, 213-432-1090. Or you can text us. And do so only through the app. It's a one-way deal. We get the message, and I've heard quite a few of them come through, Rick. But when you do that, make sure you leave your name and telephone number, contact. Right. All right, when you text the show via the app there, because at the end of the show we're giving away a full-day trip on the San Diego. How cool is that, man? And
speaking of Ryan Bastian and Jim Bastian,
right? I know, so cool. Right there out of C4 Sport Fishing, full-day trip on the San Diego to one lucky winner.
How rad is that?
We'll flip a coin at the end of the show to see whether it goes to a texter or a caller, and we're going to be right back on Let's Talk Hookup. Again, 213-432-1090. We're going to be right back at Southern California's Sport Fishing Voice. It's Let's Talk Hookup on the mightier 1090 ESPN Radio.
It's time to go fishing. Hi, this is Doug Kern from Fisherman's Landing Tackle, the saltwater tackle professionals. The perfect rod to handle the toughest fish is Shimano Terramar. The secret? TC4 blank construction with Tech Tape outer wrap to shield the fibers from the impact damage. Make sure to match your Shimano Terramar rod with a Shimano Tranx 500. X-Ship and HEG technologies combine to provide the Shimano Tranx massive cranking power with a smooth and effortless retrieve. For all your Shimano needs, visit us at Fisherman's Landing Tackle at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego. Fisherman's Landing is the top choice in local and long-range fishing. Our hard-working crew will maximize your fishing experience. We offer the finest open party trips, the best charter boats available, and our world-renowned long-range fleet. Fisherman's Landing is a full-service sport fishing operation offering great half-day, full-day, and open party trips. Book online at fishermanslanding.com. I'll see you at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego.
Good morning, anglers. This is Bob Cook, captain of the Fat Tuna from the hit Nat Geo television show Wicked Tuna. The tuna are biting in San Diego, and right now, I would like to invite you to come fishing with me on the Liberty for the annual 2-day Tuna Wars trip on June 25th and 26th. This trip is a wonderful opportunity to support Friends of Rollo, as all the proceeds raised benefit the Rollo program to take more kids fishing. If you would like to join me on this adventure, please contact Howard at rollokids.org for more information, or visit rollokids.org. If you can't make the trip, plan on attending the captain's reception on Sunday, June 23 at Dana Landing, where you can meet me as well as Captain Dave Marciano and Nancy Marciano of the Hard Merchandise. The three of us are looking forward to meeting you and sharing this great evening. See you all soon.
Many years ago, Baja pioneer Bob Van Wormer found the area he called the Great Fish Trap in the East Cape of southern Baja and built what is now regarded as the premier East Cape resorts of Palmas de Cortez and Playa del Sol. Today, following in their father's footsteps, Bob's sons, Bobby, Chucky, and Eddie, have taken Palmas de Cortez and Playa del Sol to new levels with the largest sport fishing fleet in Mexico, a luxurious spa, and top-of-the-line resort amenities. Van Wormer Resorts have become a destination for travelers worldwide. But for us, Palmas de Cortez and Playa del Sol are just a short 2-hour flight away. No other tropical fishing destination offers the experience and value that you'll find at Palmas de Cortez and Playa del Sol. Now you can plan your Baja fishing vacation quick and easy by visiting VanWormerResorts.com. And when you're ready to book, it's quick and easy. Or simply call 877-777-TUNA for more information. Van Wormer Resorts, the East Cape's finest.
Hi, this is Christy Wheeler with Dawson & Associates Insurance, your full-service agency specializing in boat insurance, including charter, commercial, and personal use boats, business insurance, and travel insurance. We work hard to get you the most coverage for the best prices and guarantee the lowest rates available on all the travel plans we offer. So give us a call today at Dawson & Associates Insurance at 619-460-5615 for a free quote today.
All right, welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. And again, if you want to join us in this freelance, just talking about anything you want to talk about, Rick and I are here to have a good time with you. And 213-432-1090 is a telephone number. Only one open line at this point, right? 213-432-1090. Or you can text us via the app. Make sure you do leave your name and telephone number. At the end of the show, we're going to flip a coin and give away a full-day trip on the San Diego.
Well, should we start by talking about some trouts? I mean, that's not something that we would normally be talking about right off the bat, but we got the boss on the line, Pete, calling us live from Montana this morning. What's up, Pete?
Hey, Pete.
Hey, good morning, guys. You guys doing a fantastic job, and I think you're doing so good. I think I'd better extend my stay. I don't know. I wish I could, but business got to get down to business. But first of all, I'm very appreciative for you two that have allowed me to get this Montana getaway here with my wife Lolly and a couple of friends too. It's a stunning day, as Tommy P would say, here in Montana. I'm going 80 miles an hour down the highway on my way to meet Chris Scott, who's Captain Rick Scott's brother, lives up here, and we're going to go fish the lower Halter section of the Missouri River. So it's pretty amazing here. And I just paid $3.27 a gallon for gas.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
crazy.
Thank you, Governor Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a beautiful state, and there's so much to do here. This time of the year, kind of hit a weather window here. You know, you talk about wind in San Diego and Southern California. They've had a bad wind year up here too, and we've had to just pick our days. But today it's supposed to be 76 degrees, no wind, and it's absolutely stunning. Just gorgeous surroundings here, and so we're looking forward to a good day on the lower Halter here, which will be fun. Chris has got a new boat. He's got a new flats boat that we're going to go snoop around and see if we can get some trout to bite. But we've caught a few here and there. You know, it hasn't been nearly as wide open as previous trips I've had because I'm kind of here a little earlier than I normally come. It's post-spawn, and there's that funk after post-spawn for a couple of weeks, and the trout get off the bite a little bit. But overall, when you get one here, it's a big one, right? And we haven't had a chance to fish the main part of the Missouri River out of Craig, Montana, which is the most popular area in this area. And so in a lot of the state right now, because of the runoff, the rivers are pretty blown out. So you go out to Craig, Montana, and you see literally like 150 drift boats lined up there. It's kind of where everybody heads this time of the year to catch fish and get away from the high water, which will last maybe another couple weeks or something like that. But and then the Missouri River is the biggest target we have here in Helena, which is a really cool town. It's a ton of history in Helena, capital of Montana, of course, and it's a whopping population of 33,000 people in Helena. So I think there's only like I think there's only 1.1 million people in the entire state. So needless to say, when you're here, you basically have the run of everything. There's no traffic. There's the people are super friendly, but there's all the amenities. I mean, they have, Helena's got a Home Depot and a Costco and, all the stuff that you need to sustain. So pretty cool place. And, the biggest problem you have here is trying to figure out which river to fish, right? Or which lake to fish, because there's so many different rivers and lakes up here that you can choose from. And so I've been fishing Upper Holter, which is there's a place called the Land of the Giants, which is up the Missouri River from there, that just has absolutely giant trout. That has not been fishing well because of the post-spawn, and they kicked the flows up a little bit from the dam. But the lake we caught some really nice fish in the lake, and using, basically indicator fishing or bobber fishing, as you say, using nymphs and 6-weight rods. There's a lake that we went up to. It was called Georgetown Lake up in the mountains. It was at like 7,500 feet. Oh, wow. And I saw yeah, and it was like cold. Oh my God! The day we went, it was in the 40s and snow all around. But we whacked the fish up there. Smaller fish, like 12 to 15-inch fish, but like almost an every cast kind of thing up there, which was super, super fun. And the place we're going to today, Lower Holter, also has some really big fish. I mean, a nice fish here is 20+ inches. I've caught.
Man! Wow.
Yeah, I've caught a couple already over 24 inches, 5-6 pounds, and these are native rainbows, so they fight like crazy. Chris the other day caught a 26-inch brown on Upper Holter, and then I got the fish with Greg Stotesbury at Hauser Lake, which is also part. All these lakes are part of the Missouri River, and they're basically just like a little tributary of the Missouri River. And we had a tough day that day because the wind blew. The wind blew really, really hard, and we caught a few fish, but it was tough. So as we get away from the spawn here, hopefully starting today, the fish are going to get on the bite, and the weather starts improving here, and really looking forward. We have one more week left here, and it's going to go fast. So we have a couple days of wind, but the other thing too is I've got out on the Hobie I-9 inflatables. Ron Lane from Fast Lane Kayaks loaned me 2 I-9 inflatables, and Lolly and I were out on the I-9s on Upper Holter, and caught a whopper fish on the I-9. It was like a 24-inch rainbow that towed me around and stuff. It was pretty cool.
I was going to ask you how you were getting around in terms of fishing, if it was float tubes or kayaks or actual drift boats or shoreline fishing. Like that was one of the things I was so curious about. So how was the inflatable?
The I always brought float tube up here because I love the float tube, but no more. I mean, that I-9 inflatable is just so cool. Show up and blow up. You sit in the seats. You're not wet. You bring an anchor, so you anchor up, and it's a pretty special thing. And I threw 2 of them in my Ford Explorer here, and plenty of room for other stuff. They're very, very portable. They're very simple to set up. Ron set me up with a fish finder thing that you could put right on a plate on top of the I-9, and I just can't say enough about that Hobie I-9 with the Mirage Drive. You can cover a lot of water. Just up here, the weather changes so fast. It's kind of like Alaska. If you don't like the weather, wait a minute. You really just have to watch, Windy or Ventusky, the wind apps, and watch the weather and just make sure that you're, not too far from somewhere where you can't go back when you're on the kayak. But other than that, it's really a blast. And as they head into the summer here, it starts to get warmer and less wind. So highly recommend, if you're going on a trip this summer in your car, throw 1 or 2 of those I-9 kayaks from Fast Lane Kayaks in Mission Bay. It's a pretty amazing device.
I'll bet the elevation is a big deal too for your trout fishing. I mean, when you're like at, when you're sitting in below water level versus being above it and then being in a chair that's elevated again. I'm sure, obviously being dry for comfort, but then speed and mobility huge, but also just the height advantage for seeing what you're doing has got to be a big deal.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. No, it's a huge advantage for being on the water and the mobility. It's the mobility, the visibility, and casting a fly rod off of the I-9 it's a piece of cake because you're up a little bit versus on the float tube you're sitting down a little further, right? So, yeah, it's good. And, we're at altitude here, too. Helen, I believe, is like 4,500 feet. And, we were fishing at 7,500 feet. So it takes a little getting used to the altitude first couple of days, but once you get in there, it's just like you're surrounded with this Montana big sky beauty, right? And
God, sounds good, man.
And when you drive here, I got to go 120 miles a day. Well, it takes like an hour and a half because you can go 80, right, or 85. So, and there's nobody on the highway, right? So it's a pretty cool place. I mean, it does get super cold, minus 20, minus 30 in the winter, so that's not for me.
Yeah, I can't do that.
This
time of year, no problem.
Come this time of the year and on through September, it gets hot in August, but on through September, October, it's for 5-6 months a year, it's pretty cool place for a fly fisherman. That's for
awesome,
sure.
Pete. Well, what a great trip, man. Sounds fantastic, and glad you got another week and some good condition here to look forward to. So, man, keep us doped up. We're having a blast. If you guys get them today, maybe shoot us a call tomorrow, give us the report, and keep it rolling. We loved hearing it.
I'll do it for sure. And the other thing I should mention too is Lolly and I have been doing a ton of hiking too. You go on all trails, which I use at home too. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of hikes here everyone is just like a 10. They're just beautiful. So, so if you're a hiker too, it's an outdoor. And then for hunters, of course, you can buy a gun in the service station in the town pump service station, and it's Montana, right? It's like it's easy, but the hunting opportunities in the fall and the winter here are just pretty amazing for outdoorsmen. So it's an outdoor paradise for sure. Just
no doubt.
Super cold in the winter. But anyway, hey guys, keep it up. Have a great show. I'm anxious to hear how those bluefin are biting, and when we get back and jumping into that Steiger craft I just got and going chasing bluefin.
It's still floating.
Yeah, well, she's there, and
okay, that's a good thing.
Joe from Oceanside just put a beautiful Pacific Edge bait tank on her. We were all down checking it out. The boat's looking good, and man, well, I'm glad you're having a great time in a sportsman's paradise, Pete. And we got a boogie, man. We're getting ready to go down south to another sportsman's paradise. So glad things are going so great on the trip, buddy. We can't wait to hear about it. I hope you guys catch some monsters, and we'll look forward to maybe another report tomorrow or certainly next week.
Sounds good, guys. Keep up the great work. Thanks a lot for covering.
Man, that
Pete, have fun,
so
buddy.
Incredible,
that's cool.
right?
That's really cool.
All right.
Yeah, but we're going to go to another incredible place, and it's Chris from Smokey's Curing Company in Cantina, and it's going to give us the Baja report. I can't wait.
Me too, buddy. Hey, Chris, good morning.
Buenos dias, Rick, Corey. How we doing today?
Life is good, brother, man. Everything's great. Just this is the time of year that we all like: fish biting, weather getting right, things are busy, and man, I can only guess it's got to be the same down in such a beautiful spot where you're at in the East Cape.
Well, man, I have to follow up Pedro, but I'm going to do my best. So anyway, let's start it out with the another great week of striped marlin fishing.
Sweet.
It's not. I've been out on the docks a lot this week, and it's really not uncommon to see guys come in with 3, 4, 5 marlin flags, and it's guys are having a lot of fun doing that. So I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but that as well as the Dorado bite's still been steady too. And for the most part, for most of the fishing this week, it's been straight off Los Barillas and then down to the south between La Ribera on down to Los Frailes. Really not a lot of action going on to the north just yet. But anyway, like I said, a lot of striped marlin. Guys are having a lot of fun. Actually, yesterday, the Vaquera landed and released one of the first blue marlins of the year down here.
Nice.
A smaller one, but the clients are real happy about that. And then so a lot of striped marlin, and like I said, the Dorado bite has been pretty fair. There was a boat, one of the charters went out and found like an old floating palm tree stump, and that yielded some good numbers. And then a few other boats happened upon like an old wood pallet out there, and now that pallet yielded some real nice 25, 30 pounders, for a couple days as they were able to find that. Also, let me say this, the tuna bite, we were expecting that to really go off, and it kind of fell off a little bit, but because, down here you got the opportunity to do so many different things on any given day. So that African pompano bite right there close in off Punta Reina right there is still happening. Lots of those coming in. Quite a few pargo. We saw several, I want to say a handful of wahoo, including a 52-pounder come in. Woo. That was exciting. Yeah. A few 30-pounders. Let me tell you also the roosterfish bite, man, that went off this week right there close in the shore between Rancho Leonero and La Ribera, right there on Surgidero. It's about a 4 or 5 mile stretch. I call it Roosterfish Alley. Guys were coming in saying, hey, man, we caught 10, 12, whatever, 8. So that was a real fun bite for guys. We got some pargo mixed in there. The water temp is averaging about 81, 82. Man, just nice water. Nice. We got a bunch of really nice sardinas for bait and ballyhoo. The few tuna that were landed were coming in, they came in about 20, 25 miles off, so they are coming in closer, just not quite going off yet.
Sure.
But cedar plugs and sardinas were doing the trick there, but it's just like I said, you got such a wide variety of stuff you can do here. So if something isn't working, you can go do something else. So nobody was getting off the boats complaining. It's kind of like I said, you're out there in the water having some cold pops with your boys. You could be doing something a lot less fun. So while it wasn't just wide open, but just plenty of numbers coming in.
That's awesome, man. A great report. Certainly some really good fishing, and how about Smokies? Were you guys a busy week down there for fish processing and restaurant and all the great stuff going on at the cantina?
Yeah, you know what? The freezer's filling up. We're smoking, and we got plenty of room left in that freezer, though. But yeah, we're starting to cook, and it's exciting to see, that, those guys working, sometimes they're working well into the night. They're still leaving about, 6, 7 o'clock at night, but I like it when they leave about 10, 11. But it's okay. It's okay. We're getting into gear, and the Vaquera's doing well. We're getting into that. I think, as of today, the 1st, I think we got maybe like 16 trips lined up already in June, and I'm booking trips every day, and I'm booking trips, all into the summer. And I'll tell you, a lot of guys are getting off the Vaquera and saying, hey, man, can we book 3 boats for next year, or 3 trips for next year? Yeah, hook me up next year. So that's always a good sign when they're getting off the boat and saying, hey, we're coming back next year, we want to book again. So everything's going good there. The restaurant's doing well in the evenings with the fishermen coming in. So, yeah, it's a beautiful day down here. It looks like it's going to be a great day. The water's flat, calm. There's no breeze. I mean, it's beautiful.
I love it, man. You got me fired up. I'm ready to go. Chris, a great job. Really appreciate you taking such a time and putting such a complete report together for us. Love hearing what's going on in the East Cape. Glad to hear things are biting. And, man, we're just going to look forward to talking to you again next week.
All right, guys. This East Cape Fish Report's brought to you by Smokies Curing Company and Cantina, where the tequila flows like what? Leche and miel. And the beer's always free. Mañana. Free beer mañana.
Great job, buddy. Look forward to it, man. That's awesome. Great job, Chris. Appreciate the report very much.
Chris
That's
is so
cool.
awesome.
I love it, man. What a great addition.
I can think of nothing better than to be sitting in that cantina after a full day of fishing and sipping on a margarita, man. Are you kidding me?
A cold Pacifico and a shrimp taco at Smokies is that's my idea of paradise, man. Yeah, just put me there right now.
I like
game.
paradise.
Yeah,
man.
No doubt.
Take me there. Hey,
Thanks,
we're gonna be right back. We've got the lines are full. We're going to get back to them when we get back. Texts are flowing in. You're listening to Southern California's Sport Fishing Voice. It's Let's Talk Hookup on the Mightier 1090 ESPN Radio.
The fish are biting and it's time to go. Hi, this is Ben, and you will see me at my dad's shop, Dana Landing in Mission Bay, or maybe in front of the shop on my kayak. It doesn't matter if you are out there on a kayak with me, on your boat, headed out on a sport boat. Dana Landing has everything you need. We call it the one-stop shop for a great day on the water, because it truly is. Food, bait, tackle, beverages, and more. Our tackle shop, headed by John, is certainly one of the best. For freshwater tackle, nothing beats East County Bait and Tackle. These guys have the best rods and reels and the hottest lures and live bait. Our newest shop is Lemon Grove Bait and Tackle, with a great stock of both fresh and saltwater tackle right in the heart of Lemon Grove. ECBT is at the end of the 67 freeway on Mapleview and Lakeside. Lemon Grove Bait and Tackle, 94 to Broadway in Lemon Grove, and Dana Landing is next to the Dana Lawn Tramp in Mission Bay. Check out danalanding.com for more details.
All right, it's time to talk about great gear from Shimano. And boy, every time we start talking about this inshore fishing, and we were talking about Salto and everything, I keep feeling like a broken record, but I can't stop thinking about what a perfect platform that Tranks is for everything we go. And, you know, today's show is kind of everything, talking inshore, talking offshore, talking freshwater, and Tranks has something for all of those things.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Whether it's for myself, bluefin fishing, popper, 400, I even, like I said last year, put on my big boy pants with a 500 Tranks. But that new 150, you go all the way down to the other end of the line.
Yeah.
That 150 is just a magical, perfect reel. Surf fishing or El Salto, it's just perfect.
Fits in your hand so nice. The spool is so light that it's so easy to cast. You can fish, the smallest things, the little 3-inch skinny with the 1/4 ounce little darter head for fishing bay bass in the afternoon here, or fishing some kind of freshwater application. But those reels still have enough guts to tie on a Viejo and go bass fishing on the double in the afternoon. It's just an awesome platform. And you said it best. They have something in the family for everybody, no matter what kind of fishing you're doing.
Buttery smooth, man.
That's the way we like it.
Yeah.
It's the Tranks. Check it out at your local Shimano dealer, or check out fishshimano.com.
If there's one thing we like, it's choices. And at your San Diego County Ford dealers, you can find yours with the all-new 2024 Ford F-150 and a range of powertrain options. Whether it's a gas engine with the best-in-class towing, powering up with the F-150 hybrid and the available Pro Power on board, or the all-electric F-150 Lightning. What you choose to do with that much power is up to you. Tough this smart can only be called F-150. Visit your local San Diego County Ford dealer today. They'll be glad to hook you up.
Great fishing is what Seaforth Sports Fishing in Mission Bay is all about. With free parking and fully stocked tackle shop, Seaforth Sport Fishing is a favorite among anglers. Come aboard top boats like the Aztec, Cortez, Endeavor, Apollo, Outer Limits, Elgato Doe, Pride, Polaris Supreme, Tribute, Pacifica, Pacific Voyager, and the Voyager. Plus, the new Seaforth Sea Watch and San Diego offer the finest half and full day trips available. Seaforth Sport Fishing. For charters or schedule, check seaforthlanding.com. Run by fishermen for fishermen in Mission Bay.
Turner's Outdoorsman, Southern California's #1 shooting, hunting, and fishing tackle retailer since 1971, is right in your neighborhood. Now with stores throughout Southern, Central, and Northern California. No one does it better. Turner's Outdoorsman brings you the best prices and selection, plus a knowledgeable staff that will help make your day on the water or in the field more fun. Stop by your neighborhood Turner's Outdoorsman. To find a location nearest you, check the web at turners.com and sign up for special deals and more.
Right, welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. And Rick, having so much darn fun today, and just freelancing, man, talking about whatever you want to talk about, the listener. And give us a call, 213-432-1090, or send us a text via the app. Make sure you leave your name and telephone number, contact, because we're giving away a full-day trip on to San Diego with Ryan Bostian or Matt. They're out of Fisherman's, Seaforth Sport Fishing.
Yeah, roger that.
Yeah.
Going to be a great time, and what a great prize. Again, Corey mentioned it before. Phones are packed up, man. If you want to get through, it's 213-432-1090, but they are packed solid. And Corey, why don't we just start it off, jump right into them?
Let's do it. First in line is Sam. Sam Cohn from Irvine. Good morning, Sam.
Good morning. Great show. I love the freelance show. Hey, talking about the bait, they called those little chobies 2 eyes and a wiggle, because I had to live through all that.
That's it.
There's a guy that knows.
So anyway, I'm headed out on a 3-day and on the Intrepid on Thursday, and I tried to San Diego. Yeah, I chased those. Tried to find the bluefin and caught a bunch of bonita on the San Diego, and they finally found those. So I'm kind of excited now that it's happening. But my question is for Rick. Rick, if you are taking your gear on a 3-day, what would you take? All of it, not just like my 3 favorite rods.
Oof, I would do pretty close to what you're doing, Sam. I would take all of it, but I think an arsenal for a 3-day trip right now, like in terms of the must-haves and beyond just the basic 3. Starting with the big fish at nighttime. My favorite is a TAC 25. I'm a big fish guy still. Like in terms of, I prefer to hook that fish on a rail rod and a 2-speed as opposed to a smaller jigging outfit if the opportunity presents itself. So big lure fishing, TAC 25, CalStar 770 extra heavy is still my favorite, and I really like. I fish that reel pretty heavy. I fish 100-pound Max Quattro and just a wind on of 200-pound fluorocarbon. And then that's crimped directly to a real heavy-duty split ring. And then that's how I make my change on all my jigs. So I just keep that heavy-duty split ring crimped onto the end of my line all the time. And then when I want to change a lure, I just grab a split ring plier and put one on, take one off, that kind of thing. So that'd be number one. The other outfit that I would have, and we're starting to see a whole lot more of it, would be a dedicated jigging outfit. Like a rod that would fish like a 150 to 300 gram lure, a 200 type gram lure, and we've seen a lot of daytime bites, and when it's tough fishing, smaller lures getting bites really good. And so something like like a jigger, an Osea Jigger 4000 or a Maxell Rage 90 and a true jigging rod. And then I'd have a 60-pound sinker rig outfit, lots of daytime sinker rig bites the last few days. The things that like you don't need, but I would still probably fit in the rack, especially on a 3-day trip, would be a 50-pound outfit, something that you can either fish like a Colt Sniper or a smaller jig in the daytime, but also it would become a good yo-yo yellowtail outfit in case your trip winds up fishing down the beach coastal somewhere. I'd have like a 50-pound outfit to yo-yo with, a 40-pound fly line outfit, because that's the ideal size, and then I would never go offshore fishing without a 25-pound rod as well in case you do some kelping, and I don't go fishing without a long rod. So that would make that would like round out, I think, what I'd be bringing on that one, Sam. And I'm jealous, man. 3-day trip on the Intrepid on Thursday. Timing is great. Fishing has been good. Couple of different bodies of fish to work with. We've been seeing kite bites on those real big ones. Good production at nighttime, and I would say the only thing that I'm sure your box is ready. I know you fish a lot. The one thing that we saw a lot yesterday, a lot of the captains and crew members coming up to the tackle store, making sure all their guys had was some smaller jigs. They definitely weren't saying don't stop bringing your 300 and 400 gram jigs, but we sold a tremendous amount of 150, 180, 200 gram, a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter. Said a lot of that fish has been up high in the water column, not necessarily super deep. And one of the problems is, guys that have had so much success over the years on their 400 gram rip rollers and big heavy jigs was those guys were firing their jigs right through them, and it's a bigger lure, and a lot of the boats were in favor of Colt Snipers or small knife jigs. So anyways, if you're going on a trip and you don't have something small in your box, that's probably something you want to make sure to add. A heavy Colt Sniper is something a lot of us have, and maybe you wouldn't even think about bringing it, but if you're going soon, make sure to have that thing packed up, Sam. All right, well, we appreciate the phone call very much. Hey, I wanted to slide in next to a great text message, and this was from John in Rancho San Diego. I love the freestyle show, he says. Hey, Corey, I've been out on the new Seaforth a couple times fishing for Calicos this spring, and I've caught plenty, but I'm also missing a few of my bites. I'm fishing straight braid to a light fluorocarbon leader. I'm wondering, besides adding maybe a bit of stretchy mono, is there anything I can do to hook these calico bites a little more consistently? I'm anxious to hear your thoughts.
I want, the first thing that comes to mind, because he didn't specify whether he was fishing artificials or live bait, and what happens when the bass fishing is starting to perk up, like it's not quite to that 80% mark.
Okay.
I mean, how do you complain? 150 released fish, right? Sure. With 80, captured on the boat, right? I mean, that's a huge amount of fish. But the bite, what happens a lot of times at Calico will just smash a bait out of reaction. Mm-hmm. Like you bring back, you did all you could do perfectly, let your bait go freely and it gets gets hit, and they literally just put it in their crushers and kill it and let it go, and you wind in your bait and you're like, what the heck happened? I did, But I don't know.
That's part of it, though.
That very likely is what's happening because it's early in the year.
Okay.
And mono always helped. Spectra is a great thing, but if you're too direct, that could be affecting it too.
How about if we go to the artificial side of it? Now he's fishing, say, fishing a lead head and swim bait, or he's fishing a weedless, and he's getting the bites but not getting the hooks into them. Are there tips and tricks that might make a difference there?
Well,
softer rod, more parabolic rod, stretchy line, different hook. Like
could it be smaller fish too? Right.
Sure.
So it could be smaller fish. It could be. An 8-foot spongy rod would be ideal.
Okay.
Like that cast, I've done very well with a 3/4 ounce lead head and a 5-inch slug style, or the same thing with a 5-inch Viejos, like that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. You're going to get those bites from the 11 to 13 inchers that quite can't inhale the whole thing, right? And just the more direct you have with a stiffer rod and not that spongy bite,
right.
It's a friend. It really is. I mean, that softer rod with the Spectra, and I always love a heavy fluorocarbon leader. I mean, that's just the way I do it.
Uh-huh.
I mean, what if you hook a sea bass or a yellow or anything else involved?
And you have always favored a shorter rod for your fishing.
Yeah, and I mentioned 8 feet because sport boat fishing. I mean, that's kind of the scenario that I envision.
Sure, yeah, that's what John was talking about.
Yeah, 8 feet, but surf and private boat fishing, I'm like 7 feet is kind of my number.
That's your sweet spot.
It is, yeah.
I know too that you can. That's the thing. Like
it's not distance you're after, right?
And with distance comes problems too. Like if you hook a big fish on the extent of your cast, there's just too much. There's just too much between you and where that thing ate to go wrong before he makes it into the boat.
Yeah, and that you're hitting the nail on the head, Rick. That's my worst nightmare. Like I tried to do everything. I had a scenario where I lost the biggest fish I'd ever seen, and it ate it right at the boat. And I was using super heavy leader. I mean, the fish could have been 12 pounds. It was well over 11.
Oh my God!
Inhaled the lure. I set the hook and broke him off on the hook set because it was so. It was literally a rod length and a half from me.
Okay.
And that's, in the magic world of my mind, that's where I would love to have it set up every time.
Sure.
Because the fish has no chance to get down. If it's 50 feet from the boat, which isn't very far, 2 boat lengths.
Yeah. You make that cast with your eyes closed.
But if you start pulling on the fish and it's digging down,
he doesn't need to pull drag off your reel. He just needs to point his nose down and swim at you. There's too much line still in the water.
And the harder you pull, the deeper he's diving.
Totally.
By the way, we had a text from Alex's Sports Bar.
Hey, Uncle Al.
San Clemente, and he said there's plenty of kelp up here, and he had the CCA Star Tournament label with a nice bass sitting on the
qualifier.
Yeah.
Hey, all right, Uncle Al, good job. And congrats to all the guys that are participating in the Star Tournament. Not too late to sign up, too. Boy, still plenty of time and a good opportunity. You might catch an 18-inch bass. It might net you a brand new Parker boat. We'll take that just fine.
An 18-footer with a 150, man.
I would be just fine with that. That's for sure.
We're going to be right back. You're listening to Rick and Corey on the Let's Talk Hookup app, the Mightier 1090 ESPN Radio.
Hey everyone, James Holst here with Norsk Lithium, the official battery partner of Let's Talk Hookup. Here at Norsk Lithium, we have 2 goals that drive who we are and what we do. The first is to make the highest quality, longest lasting lithium batteries available with a complete lineup of batteries that include 12, 24, 36 volt, and starting batteries. Second, in addition to offering a 10-year warranty on all Norsk Lithium marine batteries, we provide amazing customer service before and after the sale. Check us out online at norsklithium.com. That's NORSK lithium.com, or call us at 831-232-9063. Or to see Norsk Lithium batteries in person, stop by the Trolling Motor Doctor in Lakewood or Anglers Marine in Anaheim and see why Norsk Lithium batteries should be in your boat.
No matter where the adventure takes you, we've got you powered. Norsk Lithium.
Seasoned long-range fishermen know that the Red Rooster 3 is the finest fishing vessels in terms of technology, design, speed, comfort, and safety. This 105-foot sport fishing yacht meets every demand for comfort while delivering an unforgettable fishing vacation. Captain Andy Cates and crew are experienced, friendly, and sincere in their desire to help you have the trip of a lifetime. Book a trip on the Red Rooster 3 and you'll be back. Trips go fast. So check redrooster3.com or call Lee Palm Sport Fisheries at 619-224-3857.
24 years ago, I visited this amazing place called Hawaii Archipelago. I just could not get enough of these amazing islands, natural beauty, friendly people, and phenomenal fishing. I knew I had to spend more time there. Moving forward to today, here I am, a fishing lodge owner. Hi, this is Valerie Hoprich from Queen Charlotte Safaris in beautiful Hawaii Islands, British Columbia, Canada. We are a boutique lodge just steps from the Sanskrit Harbor, offering a truly unique fishing adventure. Our fishing is world class. You will fish for king salmon, halibut, lingcod, and much more. Our fishing grounds are untouched, unspoiled, and surrounded by stunning scenery. We are dedicated to making your adventure an experience that will be a lifetime of memories. We will welcome you as friends, and you will leave as part of the Queen Charlotte Safaris family. You will come for the fishing, and you'll come back for the memories. We are booking now. Please give me a call at 1-877-815-2892, or check us out on Instagram, Facebook, or website qcsafaris.com.
Inside information is everything when it comes to catching fish in Southern California. You need a code group to connect with what's happening on the water. FishDope.com is your code group. Inside information available at your fingertips 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. FishDope.com really does help you catch more fish and burn less fuel. FishDope.com is the only fish finding service with a spotter plane, along with a crew of top anglers on the water almost every day that report actual locations and catches. They become your code group. You get daily catch reports from Point Conception to San Catine, 365 days a year. FishDope.com has online planning tools, temperature and chlorophyll charts, hot bite icons, and more. Take it from me, if you don't have FishDope.com, you're not part of the in-the-know crowd. Membership is affordable and good for an entire year. Plus, use the special code and save $30 on a new FishDope.com membership. Check it out today. FishDope.com. Catch more fish, burn less fuel.